Don't adjust your dial. This is what talk radio is supposed to sound like. With your hosts Dave Carney and Chad Forster. This is Live in Las Vegas.
Yeah, welcome to Live in Las Vegas here on Friday afternoon. It's 2:05. I'm Dave. He's Chad. And you know what? You sure look a whole lot like this guy that I just did a whole hour of Pawn Talk Live. Oh, wait, it's you.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm still here. We kicked butt in Pawn Talk. I'm ready to do Live in Las Vegas. Talk about how great the world is right now. Everything's peachy keen.
It's rosy. And listen, it really is, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, because if I'm sitting, in a one-bedroom condo in Hawaii right now overlooking the surf, the world looks fine.
That's a good point.
If I turn on CNN, I'm like, oh, crap. For the next 6 months, I got to hear about another plane down and, the war on the borders and what's going on. I think I'm going to stay in Hawaii.
Well, luckily, President Obama is relaxing on vacation.
Yes.
He's just taking it easy because there's no need to pay attention.
Well, and even more importantly, the United States Congress is getting ready for their summer break, which...
Well, they need a break, too.
I mean, John Boehner says, hey, listen, it's what are we going to do? It's the president's fault. The president says it's their fault. And meanwhile, we're all here, the massive hordes that are pouring through the borders, and us Americans say, hey, wait, can you guys please do something about it?
And I don't want to, just switch subjects this quickly and make it this abrupt, but I just saw this on ESPN, and you and I obviously follow the NBA closely. NBA Summer League is here right now, which is going gangbusters. Obviously, Team USA starts to practice, I believe, next week or the week after. And you and I were talking about this last night, and this does involve someone local here, Anthony Bennett. There's a possibility here that Andrew Wiggins, the number one pick over, no, was he number one? Yes, the number one pick overall to Cleveland, and Anthony Bennett could be traded to the Timberwolves for Kevin Love.
Fantastic move here. Anthony Bennett, decent basketball player. Potentially, he could be a rotation type guy in the NBA. But yeah, I mean, Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Bennett for Kevin Love, and LeBron James now has himself the Miami Heat 3.0 because it's like 3 times as young as his last team. It's a no-brainer for the Cavs.
I think it's a good deal for the Cavs, but I kind of like the counteroffer from Golden State because they're willing to give up Klay Thompson, David Lee, and Harrison Barnes. I almost like that better.
Yeah, there's a problem with that. The hitch in the Klay Thompson, Harrison Barnes, David Lee deal is that there's a faction, about 60% of the Golden State organization does not want to give up Klay Thompson. The other 40% does, and that's really the sticking point. And if you're not Rick Edelman, Flip Saunders. I was just like, who was the guy? Rick Edelman coached him last year. If you're Flip Saunders and you're sitting down on the bench for this upcoming season, you want to win basketball games. You don't want to be 20-62 again this season. You definitely want to go with the veteran guys, the Klay Thompson. Now, the problem there is if you don't get them, your consolation is possibly the next LeBron James if you listen to some Andrew Wiggins. If you listen to some NBA basketball scouts, but it is going to be a longer process for Bennett and Wiggins than it would be for those 3 veterans.
Well, yeah, and being selfish, obviously being UNLV fans, and obviously Anthony Bennett coming from here, we want to see him do well.
Right.
I kind of like the fact if they do trade him that they trade him with Wiggins because obviously they're both from Canada, they know each other. I think it's going to make him feel more comfortable wherever they play together.
Sure,
as long as they play together, that's probably going to help the future of Anthony Bennett, which we all like to see because he had a rough year last year. That was not. I mean, you coming off a lot of pressure, being the number one pick. It was unexpected, and he kind of laid an egg. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And he really needs to come out guns blazing. And if it happens to be in Minnesota, just throw on a coat, whatever. You got to do what you got to do.
Hey,
it's cold,
and listen, the city of Minneapolis, I mean, I know we joke about the Timberwolves organization. They've had a lot of hard times. The city of Minneapolis is fantastic. It's my favorite Midwestern city above Chicago, way above Omaha. And really, St. Louis, I guess, would be the only other city I'd say that probably rivals Minneapolis in the Midwest. But the Timberwolves have had a hard time. Now, this would really give them a shot in the arm that they haven't had since Kevin Garnett was part of the organization. So we'll talk more about that later on as well in Sports Carnival, but absolutely we're keeping our eye on this. Now, Chad, I mean, not just troubles overseas, not just troubles at our border. A story that I wanted to bring up here, too, even before we get to live news, because it hits home with you. The growing wildfire that's emptied a small town up in Washington State. Now, your folks still live up there. Your brother still lives up there. What are you hearing about this wildfire and what it's kind of done to the locale?
Well, I mean, I haven't heard a lot, to be honest with you. It's not really in their neighborhood or their neck of the woods, but this area, has been hit by wildfires before, and as anybody that's ever been in those situations, you don't really know what to expect. You just have to kind of prepare the best you can, and if you have to evacuate, you have to. But most people like to hold their ground because it's hard. That's what they live. That's their house, and it's tough. And living in those areas, especially around this area, which is near Leavenworth, it's absolutely beautiful, covered with trees. But the only problem with living in the middle of the trees is if there's a fire.
But it seems
that's
like
a trouble.
It seems like there would be so much more water up there. I mean, we think of California, we think of what happened here last summer at Mount Charleston, and the fact that there's trees, but it's very dry. It looks like this is an area, if I'm not mistaken, off the Columbia River. I mean, and a fairly, I guess, wet part of the state, right? I mean, it typically gets some decent rainfall.
Decent, but it's not like the west side. Obviously, with Seattle on that side of the mountains, there's a lot of rainfall every year.
Yeah, could anything even catch fire there?
Not really. On the east side, it's a little bit more arid.
Okay.
Honestly, where I'm from in Yakima Valley, they jokingly they call it the Palm Springs of Washington, which is
awesome.
Kind of an insult, honestly,
to Yakima.
To Palm Springs. No, I mean to Yakima. No, I'm kidding. No, but so it's a little bit more arid than you would think, but you're right. The problem is that we're kind of in a drought in the whole western part of the United States, especially down here in California and obviously in Nevada. And I mean, it's affecting everybody to a degree.
Yeah, no, it really is. And talk about stuff that's affecting maybe not everybody, but lots of people. There's another story I want to get to here in just a second because you go so crazy when certain things happen, and I like to poke a little fun. But let's do this, Angie. Let's jump into our live news.
And now, for an all-new look at stories from around the world and around the town, here's the Live News.
Yeah, we're going to start off right here in our town, our hometown, Las Vegas. Last night, Chad, over 3,000 Northwest Valley residents lost power in what has been described as kind of an NV Energy power failure here. This is the second time in a week without any inclement weather, so to speak of, to really blame this on, that they've lost power to residents here. Now, you are terrified when power goes out.
I'm not terrified. I'm alert. There's a difference. I'm not terrified. I'm not paranoid.
I say terrified. You say alert.
No, I'm not terrified. Okay. I didn't go screaming or anything. I was like,
That's true. All right.
I think about things. I'm like, I wonder. It's like I'm a human being. So if the power goes out, and it never comes back on, what would you do? I mean, that's just a question that you should ask yourself occasionally because guess what? It could happen.
I wait till morning time and I do my
I'm
work
just
in
saying,
the day.
It could happen, and
There's
nothing wrong with being prepared. So when these things happen, I just start to speculate on those kinds of things. I'm like, what if this would happen? What would you do? Well, it would be tough to live life without power.
No, it would be horrible. And fortunately, technology today, like I mentioned, getting this solar panel up on my house has become like number one priority because in the middle of the summer, the last thing you want to do is lose power. What do you think, though, Chad? I mean, about getting even more prepared now that you've seen this happen a couple of times. I mean, are you in the mindset at all of going to buy a couple extra supplies, more batteries, a couple of flashlights? I mean, do you think this could be a small epidemic of sorts like we saw in California, rolling blackouts going through?
It's probably these are just isolated incidents. But I mean, again, it's when these things happen, it's just good to think about it and think about if this was a prolonged situation, what would you do? Because there are situations in this very country that has happened, whether it is rolling brownouts or someone hits a transformer down for a couple days, whatever the situation is, be prepared. And of course, I've taken a lot of those steps. I wouldn't be completely self-sustained, but fairly self-sustained. And really the whole thing is have 3 or 4 days worth of water and food and those kinds of things, just in case something crazy goes on. Whenever it happens, it just makes me think that, and then when it happens twice in the same week,
right,
affecting roughly the same amount of people, starts to make me scratch my head. That's all.
Hey, and listen, that's the only reason I really brought this story up here, because generally a benign power outage doesn't make my radar, but because I know this affected you personally.
Well, it was in your neighborhood. It just didn't affect you directly.
That's right. It was in the neighborhood. Now, here's something you could do, Chad, if you were during, going through an extended power outage. You could maybe travel out to Henderson with your medical marijuana card and take a little break there, because Henderson has gotten 28 medical pot applications now, and it looks like the city of Henderson is being a little bit easier to work with than the city of Las Vegas. Do you think that spells good things for residents in Henderson?
Well, I would imagine, yeah. I mean, obviously, when you have less bureaucracy and you just get this, I mean, it's inevitable, folks. Let's just get it done. Obviously, clearly, if you kind of go with the Colorado model, you generate a lot of revenue off of this. Why are we fighting it? I don't understand.
Well, I don't understand either. And the one thing that I like about what Henderson is doing here, because everybody's kind of restricting the amount of dispensaries, Clark County, the city of Las Vegas, city of North Las Vegas, and so is Henderson. So they are limited to the number of dispensaries. But unlike the city of Las Vegas, the county of Clark, and the city of North Las Vegas, they are not limited on approving the number of other establishments, meaning establishments where marijuana would be cultivated, other establishments that may feed into the dispensary type model. So that is good news, and I'm with you. I'm for the less bureaucracy that we can have, the better off we're going to be in pushing forward things that actually make people money. And if we want to get back to this, idea of a free market capitalist society, it's got to be hyper local and hyper focused on making actual people actual money.
Well, yeah, and when you start generating those tax revenues, things change. I mean, let's face it, this country's kind of broke, honestly.
Kinda?
I mean, just slightly. We owe a little bit of money to the Chinese government, I know for a fact, and it's just they just keep printing money, and obviously at some point you got to pay the piper. And if you can generate new revenue with something that ultimately, I mean, yeah, is it somewhat controversial? But I think for the most part, people have figured out most of the stuff they've heard about it is all propaganda.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, after an almost a 100-year-long campaign of nonsense, I think for the most part, people are starting to get their heads out of their butts and realize this is a great way to get some great cash. All right, guys, it's 2:16 here on Friday, 2:16 already. We're going to step aside, take our first look at traffic here on Live in Las Vegas. When we come back, talking about nightclub promoter from Hakkasan getting fired, as well as what's going on over in Russia and Ukraine. Stay with us.
From the Nevada Credit Union Traffic Center, we do have one incident working on Interstate 15 southbound at Flamingo. We got heavy volumes of traffic through that corridor as well. 15 north and 15 south right now. I'm looking at the KDWN traffic cameras, and there is an incident on the right shoulder, 15 north at Sahara. Pecos at the 215, Silverado at the 15, and Flamingo at Maryland on the east side. From the Nevada Credit Union Traffic Center, I'm Jim Dallas on News Talk 720 KDWN.
If you're looking to lower your mortgage payments and been turned down elsewhere, you need to listen to Mortgage Makeovers with Ken Michaels this Sunday from 6 to 7 a.m. Mortgage Makeovers with Ken Michaels here on News Talk 720 KDWN.
You've loved them on Fridays and missed them on Mondays. Not anymore. The boss just threw them 4 more days. Yeah! Live in Las Vegas with Dave and Chad kicks off your afternoon Monday through Friday from 2 to 3 here on News Talk 720 KDWN.
Sometimes people put things off because of their budget, but your health and appearance shouldn't be one of them. AQ Denture and Implant Center has been serving the Las Vegas and Henderson areas with affordable quality dental service for nearly 40 years. Crowns, bridges, dental implants, denture repair, or extreme dental makeovers at a price you can afford. So if you have a problem with your teeth and you don't know what to do, pick up the phone and call AQ. 702-565-6000. 702-565-6000. AQ Dental. 702-565-6000.
Do you own a home or have plans to in the future? Don't miss Las Vegas Real Estate Now with Harvey Blankfeld, Sundays at 4 p.m. You'll get all the information you need to know about what's happening in the local real estate market. Las Vegas Real Estate Now with Harvey Blankfeld, Sundays at 4 p.m. on News Talk 720 KDWN.
Voodoo Rooftop Nightclub. Sexy and seductive. Dance amidst the stars at Vegas's hottest outdoor nightclub. Featuring live DJs, house music, and a double-decker patio. 51 stories above the Las Vegas Strip. The night comes to life while you enjoy flair bartenders, exclusive bottle service, mystical cocktails, and take in the best view of the city. What could be more intoxicating? Just off the Strip on Flamingo and open nightly, Voodoo Rooftop Nightclub is the place to dance, drink, and release your inhibitions. Local ladies are always free, and on Sundays, the nights get even hotter with Sunday Industry Night, featuring no cover for all service industry members with ID and bottle service specials. Voodoo Rooftop Nightclub, only at Rio All Suite Hotel and Casino. Visit riolocals.com for more or call 777-6875 to reserve tables and bottle service. Voodoo Rooftop Nightclub. The sky's the limit.
And now, back to Live in Las Vegas with your hosts Dave Carney and Chad Forster.
Yeah, welcome back to Live in Las Vegas here on News Talk 720 KDWN, streaming worldwide, KDWN.com. Follow Chad and I both 24 hours a day, 7 days a week here on Twitter at DapperDaveC for me, and for him at Chad Tweet Stuff. Now you can also go to liveinlasvegasradio.com. Take a look at our upcoming calendar as well as listen to that link here through KDWN.com. Now, Chad, coming back here, the other side of the break, we were talking about a couple of things, making a little bit of noise here. Washington still going through, obviously, a tough time here with that wildfire raging. And last night, 3,000-plus people losing power here, in Northwest Las Vegas. And, of course, Henderson getting ready to start the medical marijuana business as well. Now, obviously, we're watching, just like everybody else, the situation, Chad, going on over in eastern Ukraine, the border with Russia, and the possibility that Russia or some other country, as opposed to just a rogue, shot down Malaysia flight number 17. Now, we're checking all the sources that we can right now, from MSN to Fox to the Drudge Report, and nothing is confirmed. All we know is that it was shot down. Satellites have confirmed that it was a missile, not lightning, as was reported possibly earlier. So we do know that it was shot down.
Yeah, and President Obama addressed that, obviously, earlier and talked about that they do know that it was a surface-to-air missile, and they do know that it originated just the other side of the Russian border in Ukraine, in eastern Ukraine, and they believe that it is Russian separatists that are responsible, but nobody's taking responsibility for it on any side.
No.
But it obviously it increases, it escalates the tensions that are going on in that part of the country, and obviously increases the tensions between Russia and the United States. And this, whether it's organic and it happened the way they said it happened, or whether this is something that's manufactured, either way, it looks like the United States is pushing towards using it to their advantage and helping get the European countries to get on board with sanctions.
See, and that's where I was going to go with this. I mean, you look at Russia. I mean, this is really a European Union problem a lot more than it's an American problem. And actually, one of our four-star generals appearing earlier today on CNN made this point that the United States, along with NATO pacts from the last 15 years, has removed most of their military installations from that part of the world, and we have very little ability, either via ground or air or sea, to contribute much in any sort of a skirmish. So we're going to need to rely on the British, the French, the Germans. And we talked about this earlier in the week, Chad, with the fact that our relationships in the United States are becoming strained with some of our best allies, Germany in specific here. Do you think this is going to become problematic in dealing with this Russia situation? Because maybe the impetus isn't so much there to help the United States right now.
Well, part of the problem with getting the European countries to jump on board is obviously those sanctions would affect them as well.
Indeed.
Because of just the way the trades work over there between the countries. And so they're not really willing to just jump in feet first and just help out because, hey, the U.S. is coming calling. So obviously it affects them directly. So it's a tough sell. And clearly this is provocation if Russia did shoot down this airliner. The other thing is what it looks like or what it sounds like. This is one of the narratives that's being pushed out there, is that whoever shot it down didn't realize that it was a passenger airline and thought it was a cargo plane. Because clearly earlier in the week they've shot down a fighter jet, they shot down a helicopter, and they did shoot down a cargo plane. But obviously, a more sophisticated military would know the difference.
Well,
because a commercial airliner that has a flight pattern whole 9 yards, has transponders, and that is a commercial flight. So it's going to be hard to sift through it and figure out who's lying and who's telling the truth here.
Well, it will be, and if it does end up turning out to be Russian separatists, which, if we're confusing here, Russian separatists are actually Ukrainians right now.
Yes.
That are disputing the borders of Ukraine. They'd actually like to be re-annexed into Russia. If it turns out to be the separatists and not Russia at all, is there really going to be any repercussion? I mean, what can they do about this then? I mean, would there be any international sanction that could be handed down, or does this just go down as a tragic incident?
I think they're going to push for the sanctions, and they'll probably get it. To what degree, that remains to be seen. But that's the way it looks like they're headed. I don't think this is necessarily going to wind up in a hot war per se, but clearly it is being described as a provocation, is being looked at as a provocation, whether that's through Russian separatists or not. The picture they're painting is, but the Russian separatists are being supplied with this equipment, and this specific equipment that they're using, these Buk surface-to-air missiles, they're pretty sophisticated, and you need some learning on that to be able to function those things. So it's just not some schmuck that goes out there and be able to fire a button and you'll be able to hit things. You actually have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
So with that, it lends a little bit of credibility that maybe Russia did have something involved to do with this, or that the Ukrainian government did this from start to finish, to basically in a false flag narrative.
That's another thing that is really being floated around out here, and it's hard to make super wild accusations with so little known about the actual nature of who did this, but it was in broad daylight. We do see a lot of debris, which, again, I'm just going to make this side note. When a plane crashes from 30,000 or any 1,000 feet, debris is present, okay? Don't let anybody ever tell you that when a plane crashes, there's no debris present, okay? And there's plenty of debris on the ground, and there's lots of videos of this actually going down. So, I'm kind of the opinion that at this point, from all the reports that we're watching, a fairly sophisticated piece of equipment in some less than sophisticated hands, somebody with at least working knowledge, but possibly not the knowledge to know to read, read the writing on the wall, so to speak, or underneath the plane to see exactly what this was. And it turns out it was an accident, because you hit it on the head earlier in the week. Generally, when an act of terror like this is done on purpose, somebody's coming out to claim it. Even if it's not the right group, they know the group that did and they want that credit. Somebody's coming out to claim it. And this has been so silent for so long, it kind of leads you to believe this was a whoops, we did this really, really wrong.
Yeah, and I think they'll find out or have a good idea of who it is, maybe not specifically, but of what faction they came from. And it does look like it probably wasn't intentional. They were going after military assets, if you will, cargo plane or something of the like, and they made a boo-boo, and unfortunately, I mean, that's going to cost 298 lives, which is tragic, and one of those lives happens to be related to somebody that lost somebody in the other flight,
I know.
MH370, which is just mind-boggling. That, number one, you get two Malaysian airliners, one that goes missing that we can't find, which is almost nearly impossible for that to ever happen, and then the same airline, almost the exact same plane, goes down in this fashion, with question marks all around it. It's just, man, the world's just getting crazier and crazier every day.
No, it really is. And, this actually, it kind of brings up a really interesting and kooky thought. A gal was on MSN the other day, a victim's relative of Flight 17 here, and actually she was referring back to Flight 370, which crashed 130-some days ago. We don't know where yet. And this particular family member went about saying, I think the first plane was shot down too, and they're covering it up. And something happened here with the second one, because it is almost too coincidental to see two planes from the same airline go down within a span of time like that. Because generally, after an airline suffers a big tragedy, the alertness level of every single mechanism within that airline goes up to a new level, and you just don't get a mistake again for a while. It generally takes quite a while.
Airline safety is one of the safest ways to travel, in all honesty, if you take it in its whole. But when you look at specific airlines, you're right. It's one or two accidents, and then they go years and years without accidents, and to have it in this short of span of time and with as much mystery as surrounding both, it just, and here's the problem. This is why it's hard to really, truly live in a free society, is because there is no transparency and no one trusts each other anymore.
That's right, yeah.
So you can't trust even when you read the news or you listen to the news, you can't take it at face value anymore because you don't know who's playing what side. Well, that's really what's going on here, is people are jockeying for political position on a lot of this stuff, especially when it comes down to the border, but also when it comes in these situations.
Yeah, and that's actually, one of the reasons that we're here right now today, 2:00, and we are every single day, Monday through Friday, to kind of ask these questions right along with you. So again, welcome to Live in Las Vegas. Dave and Chad here. Now, Chad, another story burning up local papers and all over the web. Hakkasan, one of our more popular nightclubs here in town, this says suspended, but I believe they fired a promoter recently for sending out text messages in which he referred to female guests as whale and hippo and a number of other expletives.
Yeah, it was, we're not going to give comp tables to two random girls. Then the club will be filled with hippos. That's not what Hakkasan's about. And he goes on. I mean, he really gets... He just really keeps digging himself a deeper hole in this situation.
We don't comp anything. Ugly other clubs, yes, but not.
Send us a picture. And,
right.
and clearly, obviously this girl has a beef because they're not asking the guy participants or, patrons to do that. They're only asking the females to do that kind of thing. So just an interesting situation over there. Obviously, hippo's not anything you ever want to call a woman, but it did remind me of something. I swear to God, I heard this commercial somewhere. So last night, I look up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Hakkasan. I swear to God, I heard something to do with hippos, and I found this. Angie, if you do the honors.
You can't really say that it's just one Hakkasan live. Every night is different.
For me, it's definitely the best club in Vegas, by far.
It's more like a festival, like a mini festival. I think Hakkasan is only going to get better and better for me.
Playing hungry, hungry. hippos.
Hooray! Got it.
Playing hungry, hungry hippos. Hungry, hungry hippos.
I win!
Hungry Hungry Hippos was intended for children ages 8 to 12 and not to be used any way, shape, or form in a Las Vegas nightclub.
All right, guys, we're going to have to step aside, take another look at traffic here at Live in Las Vegas. When we come back, a little bit of sports for you in the Sports Carnival.
You're up and ride pedal to the metal with Special Olympics Nevada. Choose from a 25-mile, 50-mile, or Century bike ride. And join us for the 5th annual Pedal to the Metal on September 27th. There's even a free bike rodeo for kids and adults with special needs. Whether you ride 25, 50, or 100 miles, you will have a blast at Pedal to the Metal, which benefits Special Olympics. Pick your route and register today at www.pedaltothemetallasvegas.com.
Live in Las Vegas, it's Jerry Doyle. It's Las Vegas's only nationally syndicated radio show. Weekdays 3 to 6 on News Talk 720 KDWN, where locals come to talk. It's news, traffic, and weather for Vegas. News Talk 720 KDWN, Las Vegas, a Beasley Broadcast Group station.
AP Update. I'm Carlotta Bradley. Evidence is building that pro-Russian separatists fired the missile that shot down a Malaysian flight over Ukraine.
At the United Nations, Ambassador Samantha Power said the missile came from rebel-controlled areas, perhaps from pro-Russian forces targeting Kiev's military.
Separatists initially claimed responsibility for shooting down a military transport plane.
But at the White House, the president stressed there'd be no fighting without Russians arming and training the separatists.
They have the ability to move those separatists in a different direction.
He stopped short of blaming Vladimir Putin, yet said the Russian leader has the most control over the rebels but hasn't exercised it, adding this should snap everybody's heads to attention. Mark Smith at the White House.
Pro-Russia rebels at the crash site have allowed the first investigators to make a superficial inspection, then ordered them to leave, enforcing that order with a rifle shot. AP Update. I'm Carlotta Bradley.
The news brought to you by Farmers Insurance. At Farmers Insurance, they believe the more you know, the better you can plan. Find your local agent at farmers.com or call 888-96-FARMERS. Brought to you by Farmers Insurance.
It's 2:32 on the KDWN Nevada Credit Union Traffic Center. Starting to get some heavy traffic flows on Interstate 15 northbound. There's an incident there, 15 north, south of Charleston on the right shoulder, 15 south at Washington. Also collisions Maryland at Ogden, Flamingo at Maryland Parkway, Cheyenne at Durango, and Decatur at Hacienda with entries. From the KDWN Nevada Credit Union Traffic Center, I'm Jim Dallas on News Talk 720 KDWN.
You hear a lot of talk about gold these days. What, with the stock market and more upheaval than tumbleweeds in a tornado? The world-famous Max Pawn is your gold spot in Las Vegas. Don't just send your gold into some random TV guy for pennies on the dollars. Go where you can see what your gold is really worth and get guaranteed market rate for your gold, silver, diamonds, and more. Come visit the world-famous Max Pawn in Las Vegas at the northeast corner of Sahara and Jones or online at maxpawnlv.com.
Do you own a home or have plans to in the future? Don't miss Las Vegas Real Estate Now with Harvey Blankfeld, Sundays at 4 p.m. You'll get all the information you need to know about what's happening in the local real estate market. Las Vegas Real Estate Now with Harvey Blankfeld, Sundays at 4 p.m. on News Talk 720 KDWN.
Hi, this is Ken Thompson from SportsX Radio, inviting you to join me each and every night, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m., right here, 50,000 watt AM 720 KDWN, for the greatest in sports talk, breaking down all the games. SportsX Radio, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m., sponsored by Canna Racing Sportsbooks.
Napa Know-How! Napa supports the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. And this month, we're making it easy for you to show your support too. Make any $25 purchase, and you'll receive a free Napa racing cap. For every cap we give out, we'll donate $1 to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund, supporting those who serve you. That's Napa Know-How. at participating Napa Auto Parts stores while supplies last. Offer expires 7/31/14.
Homeowners, it's time to upgrade to the industry-leading scratch resistance and unmatched beauty of Bellawood hardwood flooring because Bellawood is on sale now at Lumber Liquidators. Get huge savings off comparable floors at other stores on Bellawood pre-finished hardwood like American Cherry for 54% less, solid Ultra Strand Bamboo for 38% less, even stunning new matte Brazilian Cherry for 24% less. So go to lumberliquidators.com today to find the store nearest you. Special 12-month financing is available, but hurry, their best ever Bellawood deals end Tuesday.
And now, back to Live in Las Vegas with your hosts Dave Carney and Chad Forster.
Yeah, welcome back to Live in Las Vegas here on News Talk 720 KDWN. I'm Dave. He's Chad. Thanks for making us part of your day here. Again, you can stream us worldwide at KDWN.com. On the other side of this break, Chad, great stuff there, and I know we didn't really get to talk about it, but that commercial you found on YouTube about Hakkasan.
Yeah, interesting, huh?
Talk about timely.
I like to mess around on the YouTubes there.
Man.
And occasionally you run across a gem like that, and I put that in my back pocket, and, the story pops up, and there you go.
Speaking of gem, I mean, what kind of gem is this guy anyways? Talking about the promoter from Hakkasan who was suspended and or fired, depending on reports, for sending out this text. First of all, it's way too much time to text. I'm reading his text. They have an excerpt in the paper. It's just too much. And if you're one of these D-bags that's hosting nightclubs, your whole job, you get paid like $6 a day, plus everybody you get is like $10. Don't you want more people in the club, no matter what they look like, so you can get them? I mean, especially if they're bigger, that's double the bottle service.
Well, we don't know what kind of heat he's getting from the other side of that, though. If you're a promoter and you're bringing in, larger framed women, maybe maybe they didn't like that. Maybe he was just following orders. I don't know.
I'd like to think that wasn't the case.
Well,
but
so would I. But
I've lived in Las Vegas for long enough to know that actually this guy probably got $1,000 bonus yesterday, even though he got canned. They're like, listen, man, you got to take one for the team, but we appreciate it here.
Exactly, because let's be honest, when it comes to nightclubs, they like pretty women. That's just the way it works.
Yeah,
we all know that.
Because it gets all of us dumb, drunk guys in there like, hey.
And we spend lots of money.
Hey, is that pretty women in there? Well, it turns out that it was. Now, speaking of pretty women, we've actually got with us on the line a gal that's appeared in Season 2 of HGTV's Brother vs. Brother, a Las Vegas now, originally from Minnesota. Melissa Roach online with us. Melissa, thanks for joining us. How are you?
Wonderful.
Well, Melissa, we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule here and joining us today. You are originally from Minnesota. You live in Las Vegas now. Tell us a little bit about your interior design and some of the other things that you're doing here.
So I am an interior designer in Las Vegas. I have a cute little store downtown in the up-and-coming East Sahara area of town by the SLS.
Nice.
I was on the competition show to my muscles and my good times, beating a bunch of 10 people from around the country, real estate agents, construction, and interior designers, just showing that I can improve the most value in a home.
So really, is your specialty outside of the interior design, the flipping of houses is one of the things that you are accomplished at?
Yeah, so the staging, working with real estate agents, and making smart choices. I don't just want to paint walls pink and make them pretty, but what's going to give your home the most value to sell it?
Since the airing of the show, has it helped your business or has it hindered it at any way?
It has helped my business in the recognition, which is kind of why we all were in it. But just meeting more people involved in this city. That I got to meet you guys. I got to talk to you guys on the phone. But just this is a small city, and we pretend like it's not. But there's a lot of connections here, and a lot of people know each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, if you're a chubby girl who wants to get in the bar, that's not a good thing. So I'm just trying to make sure.
Hey, we got her back, by the way. We're on her side, by the way.
That's right. I mean, listen, we're not holding any quarter for this promoter over at Hakkasan. He definitely made a mistake. But Melissa, you look at being on TV, and Chad had a question about how's it helped your business. I mean, there is some thought by folks that do different types of businesses. We work with guys in those pawn TV shows, and part of them don't want to really show too much on camera in fear of people seeing behind the curtain, peeking behind to see the magic that you guys really do. Was there ever any hesitation on your part to reveal some of your secrets on camera?
Well, the only thing is, I had to make sure I didn't swear as much as I maybe wanted
right
to.
on. Yes, I understand.
Might be watching that. But also, I didn't want to cry because girls just don't want to cry. And it wasn't until the last episode that I might have shed a little tear, but it's a competition. And so you got to be tough the whole time. That was kind of the part.
Well, tell us a little bit about the local Las Vegas real estate market, and you're in this business, flipping houses and stuff. Obviously, this has taken a big hit, obviously, with the recession the last couple of years. Where are we at now as far as you're concerned?
Well, we had a little imaginary bubble where things were getting high, but there's two types of people in the market right now. They're the people who sat out the storm. They still owe a lot on their, they still have a good value on their home. But then there's the investors that came in and quick fix things. But you can't be emotional about it. You can't be emotional about what you spend on your home. You can't live in, like I might have been able to fit into some pants I used to be able to fit into, but it's today. You got to work forward. You can't be worrying about those old things.
Just don't try to get in Hakkasan. You'll be fine.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. Hakkasan, they're not like that anymore. They got rid of that guy.
That's right. Yeah. Go try your luck tonight.
It's a different market. You just got to make sure whatever you're showing is the best. And don't be emotional when they say your house really isn't worth what you thought it was.
Yeah, no kidding. No, that's some of the best advice you can ever give. And I was in that field for quite a long time. And, take all the emotion out of it. Look at it for what it is. It's an investment. And like any investment, you want to do what you can to stage it the proper way if you're trying to sell. And also just for comfort of living. And Melissa, I'm sure that for folks here in Las Vegas wanting to get a hold of you, now that you're a big timer and you're famous, you got the TV stardom, what can local Las Vegans do to get you to come out to their home, office, or industrial place perhaps, and even have you take a look and redesign something for them?
Well, I would appreciate that, and I would love to help every stucco palace here in Vegas, one room at a time.
Excellent.
You can reach me on my website. It is parlor430.com. I actually cleaned up the town a little bit myself. I had a massage parlor, which I flipped into my office and showroom.
I love it.
I'm not afraid to get dirty, and they can also follow me on Twitter, or they can find me on Facebook. But it's Melissa Roach.
All right, Melissa. Well, I tell you what, I'm not even going to touch that last one. I'm going to let you off the hook with that one. Fantastic to have you on with us again, Melissa Roach, HGTV Season 2, Brother versus Brother. And I got to tell you, HGTV, one of my favorite channels because it has given me, and Chad can attest to this, so many different ideas at my own home. I've changed everything up in the last 6 months. So best of luck in the future. And again, thanks for coming on with us today.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
All right. Melissa Roach there. And again, guys, like she mentioned, you can visit her on her website, and that is parlor430.com. I love the idea of turning a massage parlor into an office. That's a great place. It sounds like my kind of place.
Yeah, she doesn't mind getting dirty. Boy, that was just like a softball.
Man, served it right up there.
I stayed away from that.
I know.
I mean, I was on top of. I was thinking. Then I was like, I'll let Dave.
I know. Listen, I wanted to.
You showed some restraint. I'm very impressed.
And for a Friday, that's not generally the norm. But the reason I had to show some restraint, though, buddy, is because we have got some big stories in sports to cover, and I want to get to them right now in our Sports Carnival.
Covering the sports stories that come from everywhere. It's time for the Sports Carnival with Chad and Dave.
All right, here, Captain. Sports Carnival leading off today. Los Angeles and Chicago finalists to host the 2015 NFL Draft. And since Los Angeles got totally screwed in NBA free agency, we don't have an NFL team. Can you please just give us the draft?
I think that's possible. I think that it makes sense moving from New York to L.A. I suppose, and then you got the whole second city thing with Chicago.
That's my thought, yeah.
And plus, it's let's be honest, we're selfish. It's more convenient for us because It'll be easier to go to that than it would be to Chicago. And I agree with you.
And you know for a fact that there's going to be you, me, and our buddy Brian Shapiro just, glamming for tickets to this thing. He'll probably end up getting them.
He will. He'll get VIP passes.
Somehow.
He'll get a limo ride there somehow.
And he still won't wear shoes.
No, of course
not. Which, is awesome. I love him for it. Here's something else, Chad. Speaking of Los Angeles, the Dodgers, believe it or not, are actually open to trading Matt Kemp. Now, 2-3 years back, you might have thought that is an absolute impossibility. But with the emergence of Yasiel Puig and some of the new Dodgers, the new lineup, Matt Kemp is now apparently expendable in the outfield. Your thoughts?
Well, and he wants to play center field.
He does.
Eric Van Slyke and Andre Ethier have been
amazing.
Have been amazing out there, and they're not gonna move those guys. So he's kind of stuck either in left and right. And with Crawford coming back off the DL, it's increasingly becoming harder for him to be a full-time guy, and that's what he wants to be. He does not want to be a role player. Unfortunately for Matt Kemp, though, Not necessarily a guy that stays healthy for very
No.
long. So he has that going against him. But I can kind of understand. I mean, obviously he has the talent to be a day-to-day, everyday guy. No doubt about that. I could see why he'd want to leave.
Well, and he was, a couple of years back, I mean, Matt Kemp was high in the discussion for NL MVP. He was having a fantastic year. And like you mentioned, his injury-prone, tendencies kind of, showed their head. And he went out for the rest of the season, wasn't able to complete that run, and really has been on the downward slide of that since about 2012.
Yeah,
so.
and I think his attitude has kind of slid down with it. And it's not going to help the Dodgers any if he has that kind of attitude. So they're better off getting something for him in return at this point.
Yeah, well, and at this point, too, the Dodgers keep amassing young talent. It's going to be a heck of a decade here to watch as long as everybody like Yasiel Puig, Andre Ethier can stay healthy. Now, Tiger Woods back on the links, the actual links, over there in Scotland for the British Open Day 2. And Tiger struggled again early today, Chad, digging himself a bit of a hole here. What do you think about his chances to remain competitive in this British Open?
Ooh, he shot a 69 yesterday, shot a 77 today. He's +2. He just made the cut on the reverse side of that. Rory McIlroy tearing it up, 12 under. He shot back-to-back 66. Tiger would have to just play out of his mind the next couple of days. I think at this point, the best thing for him to do is just to be able to finish. If he can just make that next step to be able to finish, play out, have decent couple of rounds, at least he'll get him back in the game a little bit.
Yeah, and we talked about it earlier in the week when the British Open kicked off. Without Tiger Woods, golf is the number one nap option. It's horrible. All right, guys, it's 2:45 here on Friday. We are going to step aside, take our final look at traffic. When we come back, Chad has whipped up an entertainment and community calendar report just for you. Stay with us here on Live in Las Vegas.
From the Kid-on-One Nevada Credit Union Traffic Center, a couple of new crashes on Interstate 15 northbound. That's north off the 215 interchange. Look out for scattered debris. North 15, that's south of Charleston. You're backed up a little bit there. Also 15 south north of Washington. 95 southbound at Horizon, that one too in the early stages. Maryland at Ogden and Decatur at Hacienda. For the Kid-on-One Nevada Credit Union Traffic Center, I'm Jim Dallas on News Talk 720 KDWN.
Hi, this is Greg from Jersey Electric, the largest residential solar installer in Las Vegas. We're changing the name of our solar division and launching a new website, which means big offers and more savings for our customers. Call 877-43-SOLAR, that's 877-437-6527 to hear more about our pre-launch specials. We're giving away Kindle Fires along with Sign Today, Save Today event. Don't wait for your PV system to be installed on your roof. Start saving money the day you sign your contract with us. Call 877-43-SOLAR, that's 877-43-SOLAR to hear more about our pre-launch offers. Our PV systems and finance options are custom designed for you and your home, making it quick and easy to gain energy independence. Fix your energy costs today by purchasing a solar system and protect yourself against Envy Energy's rising rates by creating cheaper, cleaner power on your roof. Call 877-43-SOLAR. That's 877-437-6527 for your free site survey today. Check out Jersey Electric reviews on Angie's List.
Hi, Ken Thompson, SportsX Radio, inviting you to join me 7 to 9 p.m. right here on the Flamethrower, 50,000-watt AM 720 KDWN. Or you can stop by the Palazzo inside Legacy Stadium. That's SportsX Radio, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. right here on AM 720 KDWN.
Happy Friday. This is Chad Forster from Quantalk Live and Live in Las Vegas to give you today's Precious Metal Report. Brought to you by Max Pawn of Las Vegas, located on the northeast corner of Sahara and Jones. Well, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride this week in the market as we saw gold drop nearly 2% on Monday, gaining most of that loss back by Thursday, only to be back on the ropes again. Here's today's precious metal prices. Gold is at $13.07, silver $20.81, and platinum is at $14.84. Do you need extra cash this weekend? Visit Max Pawn to sell your unwanted gold, silver, platinum, coins, diamonds, watches, art, antiques, designer handbags, and more. For free phone estimates or questions, call 702-253-7296. That's 702-253-7296. Or check us out online at maxpawn.com. Max Pawn, where luxury meets value, open every day, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the corner of Sahara and Jones. Have a great weekend.
I'm Nicole Sanders, and I'm a cash call mortgage agent. I love my job because I do a ton of loans and save my customers a ton of money. Customers like Jim.
I figured I could refinance and save money, but I kept procrastinating. Finally, I called 855-875-CASH. And in about 5 minutes, Nicole told me how much I could save and how easy the process would be. Best of all, their fee was less than $500.
Because we do so many mortgages, we charge just $495 to close any loan, anytime. And our rates can be much lower than what you've got now, like today's 30-year fixed at 4.125% rate, 4.148 APR.
Cash Call is saving me big bucks every month, plus I pulled $100,000 cash out of my house. I should have called sooner.
I helped Jim, and I'd like to help you too. Call us at 855-875-CASH. That's 855-875-CASH.
Cash Call Inc., Equal Housing Lender, not licensed in all states. Call 866-900-8744 for terms, restrictions, and licensing. Rates may change without notice. NMLS number 38512.
Dave Carney here for Pawn Talk Live with some really big news. Your favorite Friday call-in show, Pawn Talk Live, is moving to a new time, 1 p.m. Join myself, Max Pawns, Michael Mack, and Chad Forster every Friday at 1. Find out what your treasures are worth, gold prices, and more. Here on News Talk 720 KDWN.
And now, back to Live in Las Vegas with your hosts Dave Carney and Chad Forster.
Yeah, welcome back here to Live in Las Vegas. I'm Dave, he's Chad. Thanks for making us part of your day, joining us here on a Friday. Finally started to get back to this clear sky, hot as you know what in Las Vegas. So, that being the case, Chad, you like to give us a little dose on Fridays of stuff for the community to do, as well as some great entertaining stuff for us to do later on. Let's start off today with your community calendar. What do you got for us?
All right, there's a Veteran Career Affair and Workshop. The office of Senator Harry Reid will host a Veteran Career Fair at the workshop at the UNLV Student Union tomorrow from 8:30 a.m. until 3 p.m. Again, that's at the UNLV Student Union on the second floor. Also, tomorrow, there's a Free Water Safety Day event, educates parents and caregivers. So, City of Henderson has a Free Water Safety Day. It takes place tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's the Whitney Ranch Activity Pool.
Fun.
So you can go check that out. And there's a blood drive going on for all you Twilight fans out there. American Red Cross is conducting a blood drive at the Highland Hills Stake Center. That's tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. That's 3350 West Alexander Road. And it looks like there's going to be, yes, punch and cookies.
That's awesome.
Free snow cones.
No.
Even better.
That's awesome.
I'll take free snow cones over punch and cookies any day.
You know what? You just, because people just generally punch you and take your cookies.
So there's a lot of stuff going on tomorrow in the community.
Yep.
There you have it.
There you go. Hey, by the way, Whitney Ranch Rec Center, one of my favorite places. I mean, they've actually got a cool pool out there, real tall slide. Now, do you think water safety is going to be how to get by with only one 16-ounce bottle of water as Lake Mead runs completely dry?
Well, it's funny. We had our buddy Rob Moroku on a couple weeks ago to talk about that. And since then, not saying it's because of, but since those articles from the Telegraph and it's getting some news, there's been some people on the other side saying, everything's fine.
Oh, yeah.
We got tons of water. It'll last forever. Drink up. Water as many lawns as you want. As a matter of fact, don't even worry about putting timers on them. We got plenty of water.
Well, it's kind of like the advice we were given after 9/11. Don't worry about it. Go out and go shopping.
Yes, that's how you beat the terrorists, by buying a new VCR.
Absolutely. Now, when you look at the water situation, they're basically saying nothing to see here, except for the fact that they're right. If you keep on using the water that you have, there will be nothing to see.
Well, there's a magic water fairy that we're just not aware of that they have access to, so everything's cool.
That's right.
I don't know why you're making a big deal about it.
It's called Northern Nevada Ranchers.
Who needs to drink water anyway?
Apparently not many people. And in that movie Idiocracy, they ended up watering all the crops with Mountain Dew. Now, it didn't work out super well.
Which we found out used to be the name of moonshine back in the day.
That's right. Say. Yeah, good recollection. Check out the big brain on Chad. All right, well, Chad, that's great stuff for the community. But now let's take a different stroll here. In case you're not just trying to do something for the community, give away all your blood just to get a snow cone. Let's hear about this weekend's entertainment in our Entertainment Uncovered.
Be a lady tonight.
You've worked all week. Now it's time to hit the town. We'll tell you where in this edition of Entertainment Uncovered.
All right, Chad, so I got in an argument with some desperate idiot this week on Wednesday, somebody you have had the unfortunate displeasure of meeting once, who told me that Frank Sinatra, old Blue Eyes, the chairman of the board, who just let us in here, get this, wasn't a good singer. Now, I didn't have time.
That guy's a moron.
He is a moron, isn't it? Is that not the stupidest thing you've ever heard?
And he would only say that because now Frank is dead, because you wouldn't say that when he's alive, especially if you live in Las Vegas.
Absolutely. Frank would find his 87-year-old way to kick your butt.
That would not go over well.
No,
he's not a great singer. Well, I mean, who does he see? You have to use a comparison in that situation. So who's better? Like this guy, knowing this guy, he likes Weird Al Yankovic.
That's
or something.
true.
Which, I mean, Weird Al Yankovic talented. Has a place in the American lexicon of music, but he's no Frank Sinatra.
No.
I didn't even think Weird Al would admit that.
Well, he tried to disparage Frank by saying he only talked in some monotone thing, and I said, listen, you can't carry a tune in a backpack, my friend. I don't expect you to know what good...
No, because his backpack is full of cookies,
That's
unfortunately.
Right. That's
so
true.
I think that has a lot to do with it.
An old Dodger dogs from
inside information.
From
All right,
1997.
Let's start this thing off. A little entertainment for you in the comedy department.
Like comedy. Okay. All right.
This guy is the king, honestly. This guy pretty much has inspired more comics than just about anybody I could think of. Bill Cosby performing live tonight, 8 p.m. inside the Treasure Island Theater. Tickets start. This is great. This is a legend. $47 to see Bill Cosby. That's a good deal.
Now, and you've had the pleasure to interview Bill Cosby at a couple of different points in your career. You know, what do you get? What do you get to take away from interviewing a guy like Bill Cosby? I mean, what's the aura of a man like that?
Just a genuinely good guy. Fun, funny, understands that, he's an entertainer, and that's what he's there to do, and he gets it. And, we kind of got into some conversations about him in the early days and how things have changed dramatically. And, there's not as much comping going on and those kinds of things.
Good point.
And they still use comedians like Bill and other comedians and entertainers to bring people in to gamble, but it's just a little different paradigm than it used to be. But just a class act and just a really funny guy.
Yeah, and he's had a long relationship with the TI, formerly the Treasure Island. So great stuff there. And you know what? One of the easiest casinos to get in and out of right off of Spring Mountain. Good stuff.
And again, I'll just repeat, $47. $47.95 to see Bill Cosby. You can't beat that. How about this? This is something a little bit more up your alley, I would imagine. Musically. Okay. Lady Gaga performing tomorrow night, 8 p.m. inside the MGM Grand. And this is surprising to me. Tickets start at $49. That's a good deal, too.
For Lady Gaga?
I wouldn't go.
That's got to be something that they've just published for us to read on the air, because those tickets have to be sold out at $49.
Now, I did see it ranges $49 to $4,400 and something. Now, with that, you get a meet and greet in the whole 9 yards. I'm being dead serious.
Really?
I looked this up. They have like a thing where you can go and hang out with Lady Gaga, and she's like wearing a lampshade or whatever, and she signs things for you. For $4,000.
How disappointing is that? For $4,000, you get to go meet an underwhelmingly boring regular human being and say, "I just paid $8,000 for me and my old lady to come back here and meet this chick in a lampshade."
I think the $4,000. I think the $4,000 actually goes for the pair of tickets. I may be wrong. It may be $4,000 a ticket. Wow. Either way, it can be done.
Wow.
If you have the money.
So the two $49 seats are probably gone, though.
Probably gone,
okay.
Yes. All right, how about a little bit of throwback to the 90s? The Spin Doctors perform live tomorrow night, 8 p.m. inside a Rocks Lounge at the Red Rock Hotel and Casino. Tickets start about $38.75. Now, this is more your speed. 9 Inch Nails, which I'm sure tons of KDWN listeners, big fans. 9 Inch Nails in Soundgarden perform live at Access inside Planet Hollywood, formerly known as a Hollywood Theater. Showtime, 8 p.m. Tickets, $54. Or if you want to just kind of hang out, and kind of get that vibe, how about the Wailers? Performing live, Brooklyn Bowl. That's tonight, 9 p.m. Tickets, $29. Now, this is something a little more KDWN speed. Okay, I'll be honest with you. Now, I remember this guy as little Enos Burdett and Smokey and the Bandit.
Sure.
But you might remember him from other eras, and he's a singer. Paul Williams.
Yes.
Performing live.
Yes, indeed.
That's right. South Point showroom Saturday and Sunday night. 7:30 is the time. Tickets, $35. Obviously, this is the late, great Jerry Reed. But as I mentioned before, he was little Enos Burdett, Paul Williams.
Absolutely.
The original Smokey and the Bandit.
Wow. Look at the way that you were able to come 180 degrees on that tie back in there. Fantastic program today. Thanks so much to everybody for being with us and making us part of your Friday. It's just about that time to kick off the remainder of your afternoon with Jerry Doyle. Keep it locked right here to News Talk 720 KDWN. I'm Dave for Chad. We'll see you guys back here Monday at 2 o'clock.
A short time to get there. I'm eastbound, just watch old bandit run.
Luxury shops in Las Vegas aren't new. What is new, however, is luxury meeting value. At the world-famous Max Pawn, we specialize in marrying the two. With some of the finest selections of watches, designer handbags, sunglasses, and more, the luxury never stops. Every day, new items are added in-store and online. From Gucci and Chanel to Hermes and Louis Vuitton, Max Pawn delivers all the top luxury brands at a fraction of the price. Visit us online at maxpawnlv.com or browse our showroom in Las Vegas. The world-famous Max Pawn, where luxury meets value.
Join Easter Seals Nevada for their second annual Women's Tea, honoring 4 fantastic women who have helped make a difference in the lives of children and adults with disabilities. It's happening on Monday, August 18th from 3:30 until 5:30 p.m. at the Four Seasons Hotel, Las Vegas. Support Easter Seals Nevada at the second annual Women's Tea on Monday, August 18th. For tickets and more information, go online today at easterseals.com/Nevada.
50,000 watts of power. News Talk 7